Bless your soul. Good afternoon, everybody. And let me just tell you that two things. Number one, I've discussed the matter at some length with the attorneys, and we're on schedule that was discussed with you at the time that the jury was originally selected. And I think we said I had been told 5 to 7 weeks, and on the outside 8 weeks, and we're on a schedule like that. And no hand signals from the audience, please. And then the other thing is tomorrow, I just want to forewarn you that the lunch break will be from about 11:30 until around 12:30. Okay, any question? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Chambliss.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Officer Kosman, I'm not going to direct your attention to Exhibit S-188. I guess I better pull this back out. And Exhibit S-188 is a photograph that you recovered from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen.
That is correct.
And we were talking about this when we broke, and so try to pick up where we left off. And that reads, got into it.
You know, the problem is you may have the lens too close. You've got too close of a picture there, because it's not clear to me that you're getting the whole line.
Well, we're not getting the whole line. That's why. See, that's why I'm going over like that, Judge. But if I pull it back so you can see the whole line, then you can't read. At least I can't read it. I don't know if the witness can read it. Can you read that from there, Mr. Kosman?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, then let's do it that way. What does it say?
The first word is hard to figure out. Maybe plucked on carpet.
Puked.
Puked on carpet.
Over a weekend. Looks like got into it with her tonight. It cleaned.
Or does it say got into it whether to get it cleaned?
Got into it whether tonight. It looks like tonight. Or to...
Something cleaned, right?
Right.
Underneath that it reads...
Bloomberg. It looks like dash OBM. Chairs, desk. Appears to say cage and wood panels.
And
1,000 single. Apparently 3,000 joint.
Then directing your attention to Exhibit 189. And that is I'll put it like this so you can see the whole thing. That is, again, is a photograph that was recovered from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen.
That's correct.
And that indicates it's November 1988 daily record of events.
That is correct.
And it's from Thursday, I don't know if you can see that. Thursday the 5th, is that what this says in the upper right-hand corner? Can you read it?
Thursday the 5th.
And can you read what that says?
Looks like EFIL.
And up here in the, over here.
Over there is CCI.
And then what's it read in here?
And it says Tom, right return module of chairs are in.
Model of chairs are right. So model of chairs
are white.
Are white or right? Here, let's.
Could be, it is right, are right. And
then it says Bloomberg.
Buttons, sign, chairs, desk, Cage wood panels.
And then,
Franklin Covey, St. Louis Galleria, 2154 St. Louis Galleria.
and then it says order number.
Can't
Oh, I'm
see
sorry, I
it.
gotta move over there, don't I?
Order number 18679581.
Franklin Covey. That's what that says?
Franklin something.
And then, see what it says there?
There's something up above that you're not capturing.
I'm sorry. Foam, Patagonia.
Correct?
And then it says, what does that say, caged or cached until 1:30? Is that what that says?
It appears that.
Starting at 11?
Correct, no answer.
Oh, does it say called? Called till 1:30? Is that what that is? Called till 1:30? I don't know, whatever it is. It's
Again, it's for the jury to decide.
That is, it is. And underneath, starting at 11, it says no answer.
That's correct.
And finally, Buddy did. That's what that says.
It appears to say did.
Couldn't wake up groggy. Is that what that says?
That's correct.
No. Underneath with the Franklin Covey, it says 2-page. Can you read what that word is?
Maybe monthly.
And what does it say underneath that?
Back order, Phil 1116.
Was there more on the page?
No, that was it. Directing your attention to State's Exhibit 190. Again, is that a photograph that was recovered from the film that you obtained from Julie Jensen?
That is correct.
And what does it say in the upper left-hand corner, if you can see?
CCI, looks like EFIIMRK.
And this was from Tuesday, November 10th?
That's correct.
And then reads that.
Looks like 12M.
And then it reads, life, can you read it?
Life is hard, but it's harder if you're stupid. Club.
Did you miss something?
And then what does that read?
14262
No,
dash,
142. Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry.
it looks like 14262-2, Willow Bend Park, Chesterfield, Missouri, 63017. And a symbol of a money sign, looks like Dan/Missy.
Underneath that?
Time I can waste, Denver, St. John, maybe?
St. John's Wort?
Hockey, December, Tuesday 8th, and every Saturday night.
Big Cedar?
Can't make out the last word.
It's a Big Cedar?
Could possibly say Big Cedar.
And then directing your attention to State's Exhibit 191. This again is a photograph recovered from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen.
It is.
It's from November 16th, or Monday, November 16th, correct?
That is correct.
You see what those three letters are?
MT, I believe it would be G. And the 20, excuse me, the 20 is circled. Withdrawn kids, boat, and
Jelensky.
correct.
What does that read?
10,
What does that read? Locked chest?
I'm sorry?
Does that read locked chest?
It's possible.
And underneath that?
Crying about miscarriage or miscarriage.
Well, put that last one up. Crying about
Miscarriage. It's a miscarriage, as in,
well, whatever it is, the jury will decide. If they
if they need to. Direct your attention to State's Exhibit 192. This is another photograph obtained from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen.
That is correct.
And looking up there, it's kind of, you see the one and part of another number, and it's the 321st day, correct?
Correct.
And that's November 1998, daily record of events.
That is correct.
What does that read?
Getaway.
And then underneath that?
10,
Over here.
I can't make out what that
Locked chest.
could
Yeah.
be.
Locked in bedroom morning,
Correct.
8:50.
Correct.
Too much to do.
Correct.
And what does it read under there?
Say meal,
And underneath that?
cruise,
Underneath that?
job/quit. Crying about miscarriage. Suddenly,
Is that detached?
apparently. Itinerary for, I believe it's week.
Is that locked in
Locked
room?
in room. When I got home. Dave, Isabel,
And then a telephone number. Oh, let's see.
there was some, yeah.
Can you read what that says?
check, maybe get on MCK.
Direct your attention to State's Exhibit 193. Is that a photograph that you recovered from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen?
That is correct.
And you recognize that?
Susan Schneider, 652-1121.
Do you now or know, or did you ever know who Susan Schneider is or was?
I'm sorry?
Do you know who Susan Schneider is?
No, I do not.
Never heard of her?
Never have.
Direct your attention to State's Exhibit 194. I better get it right side up. And there's another photograph recovered from the film that provided to you by Julie Jensen. Is that true?
That is true.
The date is the 23rd of November, correct?
Correct.
And can you read what that says?
Emory/St. Louis.
Is that Emory or E-M-R?
Looks like E-M-E-R-Y.
So it looks like a Y.
It appears to be a Y.
And then underneath that,
Cheras/ looks like Barb E. Fuller.
can you read that?
Looks like Dybele, D-Y-B-L-E, possibly.
Can you read that?
Program information. Brandt/ appears to say reinvest.
You know what that says?
GP, either S or 5, and it looks like BJX. 1313Y.
Council, was that 194?
Yes, that was 194. Direct your attention to Exhibit 195. And is that a photograph that was recovered from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen?
That is correct.
And that appears to be from the November 20th?
Correct. And star sign with GP, either again it's either 5 or S,
And underneath that?
and beneath that appears to be BJX. Century Securities. Check on A and E.
Is it insurance?
Unsubstantiated, maybe?
Any insurance?
Underneath that is apps. All details. Program into to run. Cold. I ate dinner sneezing, eyes running, drowsy, can hardly stay awake. And the word Barb, the letters inside the box are F-O-R-R-E-R, B-U-S, maybe I-N-T, International. Outside of that is the numbers 1902. Underneath Barb would be 414-906-3227. And it would be what appears to be 4495-9219.
And directing your attention, now finding the last photograph, S196. And is S196 a photograph that you obtained from the film provided to you by Julie Jensen?
That is correct.
And it indicates that it's a Thursday, but and the 323rd day?
Correct.
Can you read that up there?
323rd day. It'd be HD with a star GPS WMT. Inside the circle is 8-9 next Friday. Brett?
Brett, not serious. I don't know. Not serious one. Brett. Is that Brett Nate? Serious one?
Wait, I'm not sure what that word would be.
Well, the first word is Brett,
That is correct, BRTT.
and then is that Nate?
Looks like
Well,
N8.
this is just, it's
Okay.
struggling, and the jury has to decide this.
And then,
And then serious one?
okay.
That's my picture.
Oh, I
If you just want to clarify that.
Oh, okay. Your Honor, I guess counsel has proposed that I clarify something, and this is a smaller version. This is a 4x6 photograph of this, and it looks like this S-196 is an 8x10 blow-up of 196 marked here. And the 4x6 actually is more complete. You can see there's a portion of it cut off. It's the 19th, Thursday the 19th.
That is
And
correct.
as you can see by looking at this, that portion, the outside portion is cut off.
All right.
Should we have this marked as an exhibit?
Yeah, make it, give the same exhibit number with
176A?
A.
Okay. I think First of all, Your Honor, I moved those exhibits into evidence. Let me give you the numbers. I don't recall if I'd moved them into evidence before, but I think it's S-173 through S-196.
Any objection?
And the smaller one was that 196A?
Was that 196A? Was that, I moved that one into evidence as well, but let me see what it is here. Is it still up there? It's in this stack here, huh? By sleight of hand, I've misplaced that exhibit, so let me see if I can find it here. Must be. Aha. Yeah, that'd be 176A is included there.
Was it 196 or 7?
It says here 176A. So maybe it should be 196, I don't know.
It should be 196.
I think that should be 196.
It should be 196A, yes. You just change the 7 to a 9. Thank you. So with that, Your Honor, I move those exhibits into evidence.
No objection.
They'll be received.
Now, Officer Kosman, when was the last time you spoke to Julie Jensen about any harassing phone calls or any harassing photos being left around the house?
The last time I talked with her about them
Yes.
would have been the same date of November 24th. She basically told me that things had quieted down, that Mark had started a new job in Racine as an office manager.
So she indicated that she'd stopped receiving the harassing phone calls and the photos about the time you started that new job?
That's correct.
No further questions.
Question.
Officer Kosman, I put on the easel a calendar from November, December 1998. Are you able to see that?
Yes, I am.
It was November 24th that you had contact with Julie Jensen in person,
That is correct.
and she passed away on December 3rd, about 9 days later, correct?
Correct.
Thanksgiving Day was November 26th,
I believe it would have been, yes.
and it was the previous weekend you were deer hunting.
That is correct.
While you were gone, Julie Jensen left you a voicemail.
2 voicemails.
Did you keep those voicemails, Officer Kosman?
No, I did not.
I presume there was a time and date stamp or notation when she left those voicemails?
Yes.
Did you note the time and date that she left those voicemails?
No, I did not.
After her death, did you make any effort to recover those voicemails?
At that point, they were irretrievable.
Did you talk to somebody to find out if they were irretrievable?
I talked to our chief, and he thought it was impossible to retrieve them.
Then that's all the further you followed up?
Yes.
Did you try to talk to somebody who operates your phone system at all?
No, I did not.
When did you delete those voicemails?
It would have been after I had talked to Julie Jensen in person. It would have been either maybe later the 24th or possibly the 25th.
But after you met with her, then you erased these voicemails.
I'm sorry?
After you met with her, then you erased these voicemails.
That is correct.
Officer Kosman, you prepared a report regarding your meeting with Julie Jensen on November 24th?
I did write a report, yes.
And regarding the voicemails that she had left you, correct?
I made mention in there, yes, I did.
You prepared your report within a day or two of seeing her on November 24th, correct?
That is correct.
I take it that when you prepare police reports, you try to make them as accurate and complete as possible?
That is correct.
And that's what you did regarding the voicemails that you had heard and the contact that you had with Julie Jensen on November 24th, correct?
They could have been more clarified in my report.
the first voicemail that Julie Jensen left you, she said that Mark had been acting strange lately. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. Let me just withdraw that. You testified that she left you 2 voicemails, right?
That's correct.
And in the second voicemail, it's your testimony that Ms. Jensen said, if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me, right?
Something along that line, that's correct.
Now, when you wrote your first report within a day or two of that contact with her on November 24th, you only indicated that she had left you 1 voicemail, is that right?
I thought I put 2 down.
And in that first report, within a day or 2 after receiving it, you didn't say anything about her making a statement about if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me, right?
That is correct.
That wasn't anywhere in the report you wrote a day or 2 after November 24th, correct?
That's correct.
You put that in a report only after Julie Jensen had been found dead, true?
Excuse me?
You put that in a report only after Julie Jensen had been found dead.
No, sir.
Are you saying you wrote a report before she was dead in which you said you left a voice, that her voicemail said, if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me?
That is correct.
You wrote that in a report before she was found dead.
That is correct.
How many reports did you write before she passed away?
Just that 1.
And you say that she left you that voicemail,
That is correct.
and you put that in the report.
I put in there that she had left me voice messages.
Mr. Kosman, did you put in your report that she left you a voicemail that said, if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me, or any words to that effect?
To that effect, I believe it was, if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide. My first suspect would be Mark.
And it's your belief you put that in the first report regarding information she left in the voicemail?
I did not put it in a report. I did not put in the report that statement.
Okay. Maybe I misunderstood you. Let me just make sure I understand.
Maybe I misunderstood your question.
This is the day that you picked up the voicemails, correct? November 24th.
That is correct.
You don't know when Julie Jensen left those voicemails, correct?
No, I do not. The exact dates and times, no.
Because you didn't record that information anywhere, right?
That is correct.
And then after meeting with her, either that day or the next day, is that fair to say, you prepared your report?
I would want to say it was probably, yes, it was after that time.
Within a day or 2 of November 24th, you prepared a report?
I would think it would probably have been maybe the 25th or 26th.
Okay. And when you prepared that report, you said nothing in that report about the voicemail saying, if I'm found dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me. True?
That's correct.
In fact, all you put in your first voicemail, all you put in your first report was that Julie Jensen had left you a voicemail asking you to contact her after 10 a.m. as soon as possible, right?
Correct.
When you responded to the home Mrs. Jensen told you that Mark had been acting strange lately.
That's correct.
She said that he had been complaining that she was not romantic enough.
That's correct.
Did it seem unusual to you that someone would contact you and complain about their husband's complaints about whether they're romantic enough?
Not really.
Now, do you recall at the last hearing indicating that she had not told you anything about Mr. Jensen not being romantic enough?
Yes, I do.
And you were incorrect on that point?
Yes, I am. It is in my report.
And it's in your...
incorrect today, or you were incorrect at that?
I was incorrect at the first hearing.
And it's in your report because that was one of Mrs. Jensen's complaints? Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you recall that now?
Yes.
She complained that Mr. Jensen was being very secretive, right?
Correct.
She said that he was spending a lot of time on the computer.
That's correct.
Did you ask to see her computer?
No, I did not.
Did she offer to show you the computer?
No, she did not.
Did you consider taking a look at the computer to see whether there was something suspicious about it?
No, I did not.
She said that he will attempt to cover the screen if she comes in, correct?
Attempt to hide or cover, yes.
Did you ask her whether she had looked in the history? The computer history?
No, I did not.
She told you that some of the things written concerned her, right?
That's correct.
And the things that she told you about that concerned her were aspirin, razor blades, and syringe, correct?
Correct.
She told you that that would not be a shopping list or things that either she or Mark would use.
That's correct.
Did you ask her whether it was really true that neither her or Mark would purchase aspirin or razor blades?
No, I did not.
Did those seem like unusual items to be on a shopping list to you?
No.
When you spoke with Mrs. Jensen on the phone before you went over to the house, she told you that she was suspicious of Mark, right?
And she was suspicious that he may have the phone line recorded. She just said that he had been acting strange, and she did not elaborate as far as strange.
And she said that he had been leaving himself notes that she photographed, right?
That is correct.
And she told you that she did not know what to think about that, right?
That is correct.
And that she didn't want to say anything more because she worried that the phone would be recorded, right?
That's correct.
And the reason that she said she didn't want to talk if the phone was recorded is because she didn't want her husband to find out, correct?
I would assume that, yes.
Did she explain how she could have this telephone conversation with you and have him not find out if the telephone calls were being recorded?
No, she did not. She just asked me to stop over and see her in person.
And you had understood that she used that same phone to leave a message that said, if I'm not dead, I didn't commit suicide, Mark killed me.
Objection, there's no foundation for this witness to know which phone she was using.
I'm asking, do you have a caller ID on your phone?
No, I did not.
At any rate, during that day while you were on, you had called her back at her home phone, right?
That is correct.
And on that home phone, you had conversations about her husband allegedly having notes, right?
She just said he was acting very strange at that point.
She also told you in that phone call that he's been leaving notes that she photographed, right?
I believe she told me that in person, not over the phone. Now, maybe I'm mistaken.
Let me show you Defendant's Exhibit
Please.
197.
Was that the first report or the second report?
First report. Officer Kosman, I'd ask you just to read the first paragraph to yourself, see if that refreshes your recollection.
Okay.
Did she tell you in that telephone conversation on the phone that she worried was recorded that Mark had been leaving himself notes?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, there's no foundation as to which phone Ms. Jensen was using, so there would be no way for this witness to determine whether she would have concerns about being recorded on that phone or not.
I think his testimony that he called her at home is pretty good foundation on the issue.
Well, then I was confused as to which phone call you were talking about. I withdraw the objection.
You called her at home, right?
Right.
She expressed concern that that telephone line was recorded, right?
Correct.
Nonetheless, she told you that Mark had been acting strange lately, right?
Correct.
And she told you in that telephone call that he'd been leaving himself notes that she photographed, correct?
Correct.
She also told you in that telephone call on the phone that she was worried about being recorded, that she did not know what to think about this, and that she did not want to say anything more because her husband may be listening.
Or may have it recorded, that is correct.
And if that telephone call had been recorded, that pretty much would have given away her worries to her husband, correct?
Correct.
When you went to the house, Mrs. Jensen told you, or she repeated, that she had photographed some notes, correct?
Correct.
And that she had given this film to the neighbors, right?
Correct.
Did you know the neighbors, the Voights?
No, I did not.
Had you ever met them before?
No, I have not.
You had been at the Jensen home dozens of times?
That's correct.
You would stop by the Jensen home 10 times a year just as a friend, right?
Basically to check on two things, basically. If any problems had been starting up again, and just to let her know that we were in the area, that we're still trying to keep an extra eye on the house for her, for this individual who may have been leaving photographs and so forth around the house.
Would you disagree with the following statement that it could have been 10 times a year that you'd stop and see her socially?
I don't think it would have been that many.
Do you recall testifying on August 30th, 2007 in this case?
What was the date again?
August 30th, 2007? Do you recall testifying in the Kenosha County Courthouse in late August?
It was late August. I think it may have been the 25th or something along that line. I know it was late August.
I'm about to be at page 96, line 20.
Thank you.
Let's see, let me start it. Line 5. Question, how many times did you stop to talk to her socially? Answer, I'd have to give you an estimate, probably maybe 7 to 10 times, maybe more. Question, let's do it this way. How many times a year do you think you did that? Answer, I'm sorry. Question, how many times a year do you think you did that you stopped and talked to Mrs. Jensen socially? Answer, basically whenever I would see her outside. Question, and so that would be 3 or 4 times a year? Answer, may have been more, may have been less, I don't recall. Question, it could have been 10 times a year that you'd stop and see her socially? It's possible.
It's very possible. I do not recall the number of times that I stopped socially. There were no reports generated for that.
that you made frequent social contacts with Mrs. Jensen, right?
Your Honor, I object under the doctrine of completeness. I would direct the court and counsel's attention to page 95, starting at line 17.
What's the date?
What council was it? August 30th? What's the? I don't have the.
August 30th.
August 30th, page 95, line 11.
I don't have that transcript.
Well, I'll show you the portion that I want.
Where you want from line 11?
Page 95, line 11, on down.
I read from line 17, I don't have any problem with that.
And you read down through the top of page 96?
Yeah, I read through line 5, so it's line 17 and 95.
I want to read from, oh, you don't have an objection? Did you still want to read it then, Judge?
Well, no, if there's no objection, go ahead.
From line 17.
Wondering why.
From line 11. I want from line 11,
No.
page 95, through line 8, page 96. And I will give that to the court then.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead, what? Does that mean you're allowing that to be read then?
I thought it was agreed.
Well,
No.
what I thought, Judge, is that from line 17 makes sense, line 11, given his answer, and then it's mostly just my question, I don't think that makes sense. Line 17, I think, is appropriate.
Well, I have to agree with Mr. Albee.
Thank you.
Officer Kosman, beginning on page 95, line 17, question, okay, do you recall, before I come back to that, Officer Kosman, did you document with your department every contact you had with Mrs. Jensen? Answer, no, I did not. Question, why not? Answer, because like I said, some were more of a social nature, where I would see her around in the yard. Hadn't heard from her, I would stop for 2 reasons. First reason being to see if things had quieted down, if there were any problems, and secondly, and most importantly, to let her know that we were still keeping an extra eye on her home. Question, how many times did you, well, that's what I read before.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
And so if you'd see her outside, you'd stop, correct?
Not every time, but quite a bit.
And this could be as much as 10 times a year.
Again, I don't recall.
But it could be.
It could be more, it could be less.
Okay. And despite all those stops outside, you never had any contact with her neighbors, the Voights?
Not that I recall, no.
She told you that the Voights had been given this roll of film, correct?
Along with an envelope, that's correct.
Along with the envelope, and she told you that that envelope contained a letter, right?
That is correct.
She told you that that letter was to be opened in the event of her death, right?
Correct.
She told you she'd get the film, but not the letter. Is that right?
That is right.
You didn't insist that she get the letter?
I asked her, and she said that at this particular point, she did not think that Mark would do anything to her, so she did not want to give up the letter.
So she didn't want to give you, a police officer, a letter that would only be opened in the event of her death? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
And you didn't insist on getting that letter at that time, correct?
That's correct.
Did you go talk to the neighbors to find out what they knew?
No, I did not.
And is it fair to say during this conversation that you had with Mrs. Jensen on November 24th that you asked her numerous times to leave?
Yes.
And it was after you asked her numerous times to leave that she then said, well, not really that fearful. Is that right?
I advised her that if she was fearful for her safety or for the children's safety, then she should leave.
Well, you asked her numerous times to leave, right?
I asked her about 2 or 3 times. Or I made the mention that she should about 2 or 3 times.
Do you recall testifying at a preliminary hearing in this case back in 2002, Officer Kosman?
Yes, I do.
And did you give the following answer to the following question, page 45, line 13? Question, did you ask her whether she was going to leave or why she wouldn't leave? Answer, I asked her numerous times during the course of our conversation to leave. I told her I couldn't force her to do so, but if she felt I couldn't force her to do, I think there's just a comma error, so I'm sorry. I told her I couldn't force her to do so, but if she felt threatened or felt that Mark was trying to harm her in any way, shape, or form for the sake of her kids, of herself and her kids, to leave. Did you give that answer?
Yes, I did.
And it was numerous times during the course of your conversation that you asked her to leave, correct?
Correct.
And things were a lot fresher in your mind at the time you gave this testimony at the preliminary hearing, correct?
It should, yes.
And when you asked her numerous times to leave, she backed off on the level of fear that she was expressing, correct?
That is correct.
You did not talk about your contact with Mrs. Jensen with Mark Jensen, correct?
That is correct.
You didn't talk to him because she insisted that you not talk to him, correct?
Most of the time, that is correct.
Well, most of the time I'm talking about...
What I say by most of the time is whenever she had a complaint, she did not want me to speak with Mark.
Well, so you knew as of November, or Mrs. Jensen knew as of November 24th that if she asked you not to talk to Mark, she could count on you not to do so, right?
That is correct.
And on November 24th, she reiterated that she did not want you to talk to Mark about her suspicions, right?
That is correct. She wanted to take no further action.
And as a result of her request, you did not talk to Mark, correct?
That is correct.
If she had not asked you to not talk to Mark, that's something you would have done in the normal course of your investigative duties, right?
It may have.
You would have wanted to find out what was going on and what the problem was in that household, correct?
That's correct.
Because she was saying something very serious to you, right?
At that point, yes, it was very serious.
But because she discouraged you from acting further, you did not act further, true?
Basically, she did not want us to pursue it any further than to have knowledge of it and document it. And that's exactly what I did.
During your conversation with Mrs. Jensen, you did not suggest installing any video or surveillance equipment on November 24th, correct?
No, I did not.
So if a neighbor reports that she had told him that you had made that suggestion, either Mrs. Jensen misreported that or the neighbor has it wrong. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say because I did not advise her to record anything within the home on that particular day.
You took the roll of film and had it developed immediately?
I believe it was the same day I dropped it off, and if memory serves me correct, either I got it back either later on the 24th, or I got it back right away on the 25th.
And those are those photographs that were just displayed by Mr. Jamboys today?
The ones that were on the overhead, that is correct.
There weren't any other photographs, correct?
Just those.
There weren't any photographs of any computer screens, correct?
Not that I recall.
Well, we didn't see any today, right?
Not that I saw.
And you understand that to have been the complete set of photographs, right?
As far as I know, yes.
Right after you received those developed photographs back, you reviewed them with Detective Ratsberg, right?
That's correct.
You both looked at them together?
Correct.
And after looking at those photographs, you did not talk with Mrs. Jensen again?
No, I did not.
You did not go to her house, correct?
Not that I recall, no.
And you're not aware of Detective Ratsberg going over to the house to talk to her, are you?
He may have, I don't know.
Are you aware of him doing that?
No, I'm not.
He never told you anything about that?
That's correct.
So if a neighbor says that he saw you over at the house, he would be mistaken?
Yes. The only time that I was there was when I went and talked to her the first time, or the only time.
Did you ever get, on November 24th or any time between November 24th and Mrs. Jensen's death, did you ever get angry with her?
No.
Did you ever get loud with her?
Between that time frame?
Right.
No.
Did you ever yell at her?
No.
Did you ever imply that she was crazy to her?
No.
Mrs. Jensen, in your conversation on November 24th, she never told you anything about Mark Jensen trying to get her to drink alcohol, correct?
No, she didn't. I don't believe it was on that day, no.
It had been a couple years earlier she had made the complaint that Mark wanted her to drink, correct?
Some wine, correct.
But that was in like 1996, right?
95, 96, 97, somewhere in there.
She explained that she did not want to drink because there was a family history of alcoholism, correct?
She advised me that her mother was an alcoholic.
Did Julie Jensen ever tell you about receiving counseling for depression?
No, she did not.
At no time during the course of the years that you knew her, did she ever mention having depression issues?
No.
Or having any treatment for depression issues?
No.
Or having previously been prescribed medication for depression?
No.
Did she explain why on November 24th she would not want you to confront her husband if she was concerned that he might be acting against her interests?
The only explanation that she gave me was that she felt her emotions were running wild at that point.
So she felt that her emotions were somehow out of control that day?
Just running wild is the way she put it.
Did you understand what that meant?
Well, and the fact that she said maybe she was just reading into it more than what she should have been, and that's what made her emotions run wild.
Well, didn't you suggest that you talk to Mark and get this straightened out so everybody could have peace of mind that there was nothing wrong going on?
No, I did not.
You didn't suggest that to her at all?
No, I did not.
But she specifically told you that she did not want you to talk to Mark, right?
That is correct.
Did she tell you that she was concerned that Mark would be angry?
Yes, she did.
You had had contacts with Mr. Jensen perhaps a dozen times over the previous years?
That I did?
Yes.
It could have been. I don't recall exactly how many contacts I have with Mr. Jensen.
With Mr. Jensen?
Mr. Jensen.
Do you have an estimate of how many times you had contacts with Mr. Jensen?
I'm sorry?
Do you have an estimate as to how many times you had encounters with Mr. Jensen?
Maybe 6 to 12.
And there wasn't one occasion among those 6 to 12 times that you had contact with him in which he got angry, right?
Upset once, and that was basically because of some photographs that he had found.
He was upset about what somebody had done to their household, right?
About leaving the photographs, correct?
You never saw him angry with Mrs. Jensen.
No, I did not.
He never expressed any anger toward Mrs. Jensen for reporting any of this harassment to you, correct?
That is correct.
Mrs. Jensen never reported any physical violence in the household, correct?
Not to me, and as far as I know, not to anyone else.
You're not aware of her making any such report to any police officer in your department at any time, correct?
I'm not aware of any, no.
Officer Kosman, over the years, there were a number of occasions in which you were at the house, the Jensen house, right?
That is correct.
Those contacts dealt sometimes with harassment, right?
Harassment,
Sometimes with the social contacts you talked about, correct?
correct?
And sometimes about sort of just general complaints about vandalism.
Correct.
Your Honor, both counts request a short recess.
All right, let's take a break until 25 minutes to 3. Please don't talk about the case.
Please all rise.